it's Ashley from the Candle Collective, and I am back. Or for those of you that aren't keeping track, hello. I'm so glad you're here. It's been a minute, and I have some explaining to do, or don't really. Again, who really cares at this point? Because it's not like you guys are like, hey, where are all these videos? No one has asked. It's more so my own self-beating where I'm like, hey girl, you need to publish a video. But nonetheless, thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Ashley. If you're new here, I'm going to catch you guys up to speed. I am a candle maker, and I make videos based on running a business in the candle space. And today's video, I'm going to talk all about cost, because I am drowning in them and I don't see a whole lot of light at the end of the tunnel, pun intended. I'm laughing because otherwise I kind of want to cry. But I am back, and I am just going to make videos as I see fit. Much like Instagram and other things, I really felt like I had to make a video every week, every 2 weeks. And I really haven't found like a dance that makes sense for me, because at the end of the day, my business comes first. YouTube videos come 98th, unfortunately. They don't pay my bills. And so I have to really focus full throttle, full steam ahead on making candles and making sure that my customers are happy. And while I love making YouTube videos and sharing all this information with you guys, it is a labor of love. And I just have not prioritized and had the chance to prioritize making these videos. So that's the long and short of it. And before I get into all of my costs and what I have been pushing a boulder up a mountain over the last couple of months in 2024 on, I did want to tell you guys, because I get a lot of these questions of when are you going to bring back 30 for 30? Because I feel like you guys are probably dealing with a lot of the same issues that I am. And so I have really great news that if you subscribe to our emails, I'm going to be sending out an email here very, very soon. And to anybody who has individually asked, I am going to have like a 1 day, bam, 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 like full day of consults and 30 for 30, like rapid fire, where I can connect with you guys and like fill my cup, because I absolutely love those, and hopefully answer some questions. Those are built for reducing overwhelm and like removing obstacles or roadblocks. If you guys are like me, I'm always on the merry-go-round, self-induced. And so it's really nice to talk to somebody else if you're a candle maker in any sort of field, small business wise, that you guys are like, hey, I just want to like shoot the shit with you first and foremost. Those are a really nice way to do that. It's just 30 minutes. It's not supposed to be overwhelming, and really just supposed to like restore your faith in humanity, hopefully. And I'm going to have a full day of those. So if you're at all interested, make sure that you subscribe to our emails, because you guys will get the access and the alert of when you can time slot yourself in on those. Okay, now let's talk about it. So I have been, much like you guys, just dying on the vine of these price increases from all of my suppliers. And here's the thing. I started in 2020. And I've only done one price increase on my business. And that was like 2 months after I launched, because I realized that this was like a serious thing that I was going to do. I don't know if like when I launched, I wasn't taking myself seriously, or I was like just still kind of like half in, half out of like, am I really doing this? I don't know what it was. It doesn't really matter, but I needed to already up my prices. I knew immediately, and I just needed to like rip off the Band-Aid. And that price increase was still probably a bit less than where I needed to be. But over the last 3 years, I have really worked to buy in bulk and get my numbers at least to a manageable position where I am able to turn a profit and pay myself and pay employees modestly. Now it's 2024, and I came into this year, and I always have like a rule of threes, which is so funny. It's like the third year of every business I've ever had. I feel like it's kind of like this rude awakening year where you know too much, and You have too much proof to like compare and contrast things to, and it's just a hard year in general. And I don't know if it's like a placebo thing now where I'm just like setting myself up to fail. I don't know what it is. All of that to say, this year, the suppliers, they're obviously feeling a pinch too. They're not doing anything wrong. It's the nature of business, but they are pushing these price increases. And I am telling you that I am feeling it. I am feeling the pinch. Really, over the last 3 months, feeling myself like tightening the ship and like just, and no one likes to work under those circumstances, obviously, because it's super uncomfortable. And the risk in making like bigger investments, things like that are really hard. But 3 things that I wanted to share with you guys that I am doing is, whether it's working out or not, some of it is still obviously in the process, but I just wanted to share in hopes that maybe these are some ways that it might help you guys. One of them is I noticed that I was at the beginning of the year, I don't know if like I just got on the radar of certain businesses locally, but supply companies were reaching out to me. Think of like Uline-esque, right? I've never used Uline. I'm not really that in line with their practices. So I've always used local companies as much as I can. And I had to do a lot of digging to figure out local companies. Now I'm talking about packing supplies like boxes, packing peanuts. I get my packing tape from Costco. Like I really do like cut corners in that way. My business isn't heavily branded on our packing and boxing and things like that. I would love to be someday, but it's just not where I choose to spend our money. It's not to say that I don't want to, but here we are. Anyway, so I buy all of those things. I used to buy a little bit on Amazon. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to like look online. And then I didn't find any prices that were like blowing my hair back. And so I looked locally. And this is first what I always recommend. Look locally. Packing supplies locally. I live in New Mexico. We're not like a huge metropolitan area. So I feel like if I can find this in my city, then you guys can definitely find this in your city. If you just look and like find local shipping store, local packaging store, boxes near me. And I'm not saying like moving boxes, like packing boxes or packing peanuts, like make it like really, really niche. And so I found a local store that I was buying from. And then there's this other competitor that came in at the beginning of the year and they were trying to get my business. And they basically were like, oh, well, we'll beat these prices. And so I was like, well, give me a quote. Normally, I wouldn't have done it all because I felt like I was getting a fair price. And the whole point to say is I didn't basically go back to my original supplier and lowball them. I went back to them and said, hey, I got a more competitive price. I like working with you guys, but at the end of the day, these are bills that I have to pay. Can you match these prices? And they said, yeah, we can match these prices, but let's configure the quantities that you're buying because you're buying smaller quantities over a period of time. Why don't you just like invest in this? And it's basically like bulk ordering, but it gets my pricing down. It was a win-win situation, and it was something that definitely took me more steps to get there and wasn't even on my radar, but I ended up saving money on these supplies that I'm going to use no matter what. And it's awesome because this supplier, they give like same day delivery, and the delivery guy's awesome. He's so sweet, and he like buys our candles now. So I just suffice it to say, like, I wanted to share that with you guys because maybe you're just not even like considering that because Uline is like pumping the ads to you guys, or, the 2-day Amazon delivery just makes sense. And maybe all that still does and you don't have this option, but like, just do some research. I always say like, it's kind of like when you're starting a business, like all of those like very time intensive tasks are like so much work at the front end, but like then you never have to do it again. And I'm not saying you never have to do this again, but like it did save me a shit ton of money on our packing supplies. And that is like a cost that I needed to save on. The second thing that I did is I reached out to some suppliers that I've been consistently ordering from that I know that their prices have gone up or are going up. And I just basically asked to have a candid conversation with them, and not in a way of wasting their time. Like, I will say, when I was like looking over my order history, if I'm buying a lot of supplies from them, I just felt like it was worth having a frank conversation to say, hey, is there any sort of strategic way that I could get my costs down with you guys? Maybe it is buying more less frequently. And again, I don't know your guys' finances. I don't know your guys' life, but I do think there is a human aspect to the business that we're doing. And they might come back and say, no, girl, like, are you high as a kite? Like, we're all doing our checks and balances at the end of the day. But the thing I guess I'm trying to express here is it doesn't hurt to ask. It might require an initial investment with you guys and maybe some sort of an agreement, but it definitely does make sense. And I will say that there is one supplier that I started to work with on a pricing agreement. While it is still really expensive, it is something that, because I was already buying so many supplies, I was like, well, it's worth a shot. To say no, at least I'm going to know, and then I have a different route to go. And if they do say yes, then ideally I can still savor some sort of like pride that my prices aren't going to have to go through the roof in the interim. And maybe I can like buy some time to figure something else out. And then the third thing that like I really have had to do that is not in my comfort zone and something that I have really wanted to just steer clear of is buying overseas. And again, I think that everyone is at different thresholds with this piece of advice, and it might not even be advice for you guys. It might not even be like an aha moment for you. So you're probably like, this third tip is bullshit, Ashley. Like, tell us something we don't know. I've been doing this for years. But for somebody like me, that, like I said, is very relationship oriented. I love to have all the feelings when I'm purchasing things. I like to have the hand-to-hand communication, that sort of thing. Buying overseas has been something that I have just had a very harsh stigma against, and really in my own way about. Purchase something overseas yet? No. Am in the process of buying samples. I just got a sample pack yesterday from a manufacturer in China, and at the end of the day, the suppliers that I'm buying from, especially with my vessels, are buying from there anyway. I just kind of wanted to skip that part and just deal with the middleman because it felt like less stress for me. It felt like less risk. But honestly, at the end of the day, the prices are not lying. It's something that I just, as a business owner, if I am going to get to that next level and next threshold of my margins in my direction as opposed to the supplier's direction, because that's what I'm waging at the end of the day, I've got to do it. And I don't like it. And also, I will say, like, looking at these prices, like the prices are, it's almost like insulting how much I am spending on markup. And like, look, these suppliers are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're doing what we're doing. They're running a business. They're not doing anything wrong. But some of them are getting a little crazy. And their margins are insane on profit. Because even in the minimum order quantities that I'm looking at, which they're obviously not buying minimum order quantities, theirs are like gargantuan order quantities. I'm like, y'all are making some coin. Now you have, of course, expenses, you have marketing budgets, you have all of these things, but maybe dial it back a little bit and not charge these crazy, ridiculous amounts. But it happens and I can't be mad at it. I just have to be resourceful and do what's best for my business. If you have experience in buying through places like Alibaba or direct through a manufacturer overseas, I would love your feedback on this. I would love your learning curves. I would love your don't do that, don't fall for this, like whatever and everything and anything and all of the above in between. Please, please, please let me know, because I'm telling you, my BP is through the roof on it. But it is a necessary next step for me. And these are the three things that I have been just like marinating in the stew of for the last 3 months. Head scratching. That's how it feels. Those are the three things that I'm really doing to try and navigate the world of expenses, because running a business is expensive. Guys, I hope you're still here on this ride with me. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, of course, I would love for you to do that. I do have some content ideas kind of mulling over. It's just going to be a matter of when I actually get to film them and share them with you guys. We've had some really exciting things happen with our candle business, and we've had some really gut-wrenching things happen behind the scenes that I'm hoping to do some videos on once I actually process my feelings versus facts on those. So I'm not just like a Dear Diary entry on here. But I hope you guys stick along and just join us on this 2024 ride of running a candle business on here. Sign up for our emails if you're interested in signing up for a 30 for 30. That day will come very, very soon. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go be great. Bye, guys.